The sky was no longer blue. It was filled with shadows, massive alien ships hanging silent above Earth's clouds. Every city, New York, Beijing, London, watched the same sky. People stood frozen in the streets, staring upward, unable to speak. For days, there had been no sunlight. The alien ships covered the planet like a metal curtain. No attack, no sound, only silence. Then, a voice came. A deep, cold transmission reached every device, every radio, every satellite. "Humans of Earth, you are defeated. You will surrender your planet and your species." The voice did not sound angry. It sounded bored, like a teacher repeating a rule. "Failure to comply will result in erasure of your kind." Governments tried to respond, but the alien ships jammed every frequency. Military jets vanished the moment they reached the clouds. Nuclear weapons went offline without explanation. Panic spread faster than light. News channels went dark. The internet collapsed. Only the sky remained, and the massive shadows above it. The United Earth Council met in an underground bunker in Geneva. Leaders argued, shouted, begged for options. Someone said, "Maybe we can negotiate." Another replied, "Negotiate with what? They don't even see us as alive." A hologram appeared in the room, the same cold alien voice, a towering figure with silver skin and eyes like glass light. "You had 1,000 years to learn peace," it said. "Now you will obey or be cleansed." Every screen on Earth showed the same message. "Surrender the species. 24 Earth hours remain." Children cried in their homes. Soldiers looked up at the sky, their weapons useless. In space, human stations were already gone, destroyed in seconds. It seemed like the end of everything. But under the ice of Antarctica, something was still awake. The signal beneath the ice deep below a frozen valley. Machines older than any living person began to move. Buried since the last World War, Project Black Dawn had been forgotten by almost everyone. It was a rumor, a ghost story told in military archives. Now, after centuries of silence, its engines were waking up. Lights flashed through ice tunnels as ancient power reactors hummed back to life. Frozen screens flickered on, showing the symbol of the Old Earth Defense Command. A broken circle with a burning star inside. A single voice spoke from an automated system. Black Dawn protocol reactivated. Fleet status hibernation. Awaiting command. In a nearby control chamber, an old man opened his eyes from cryosleep. His name was Admiral Gareth Stone, last commander of the Human Defense Fleet. He looked at the screens around him and whispered, "They finally came back." He pressed a switch that had been waiting 100 years to be touched. All around the base, alarm lights flared. Massive doors began to open under the ice, and from those doors, dark metal shapes started to rise, the world above. While the world waited for doom, a small boy in Tokyo looked out of his window at the alien ships. He asked his mother, "Will they take us to the stars?" His mother hugged him tightly and said nothing. In New York, a group of pilots sat on a rooftop listening to the alien countdown. 24 hours left. They had no planes, no orders, only fear. Then the sky flickered. Every screen on Earth blinked once and then went black. A new message appeared. It was not alien. It was human. Transmission. To all surviving nations. Project Black Dawn is active. Do not surrender. The voice was strong, calm, and deep. Admiral Stone's voice. For the first time in weeks, people felt something they had forgotten. Hope. The aliens reacted instantly. Their ships began to move in formation. They had heard the message too. "Black Dawn?" their commander said in disbelief. "Impossible. That fleet was destroyed centuries ago. The storm begins. Under the ice, the dark ships continued to rise. They were nothing like modern designs, sharp, black, and silent as shadows. They absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Inside one of the massive hangars, a young pilot named Aiden Cross stood watching. He was one of the few who had been trained for this moment since birth. He had never seen the sun, born underground, raised for war that no one believed would come. Aiden placed his hand on the cold metal of a ship marked with a single name, Obsidian 1. Its hull hummed like a living thing. He whispered, "Let's show them what humans really are." Above the Arctic Circle, ice split open. The first dark warship rose into the sky, leaving a trail of blue light behind. Lightning flashed across the clouds. From space, the aliens saw the surface crack open and detected massive energy signatures. Their sensors malfunctioned. One of them spoke in shock. "Something is coming out of the planet." The alien commander leaned closer to the screen. He saw the shape, a dark, massive ship rising slowly from Earth's ice cap. It was bigger than their battleships, older, and built with a design not of peace but of vengeance. The final transmission, every human radio, screen and device came alive with one last message before the battle began. Admiral Stone's voice echoed across the world. "To those who demanded our surrender, you will have your answer." Then silence. The dark fleet rose through the storm clouds, black against lightning and thunder. For the first time in history, the sky belonged to humans again, and the galaxy, watching from afar, did not yet realize that the species it thought was defeated had just declared war on the stars. The world trembled. No one knew if it was the earth shaking or the sound of something waking up beneath it. Across the planet, strange energy spikes appeared on every radar. Governments tried to trace the signal. No one could. The alien armadas still above the clouds began to move into new positions. They scanned, searched, and fired energy beams into the ice. But it was too late. Something alive was moving below. The awakening, beneath the earth under miles of frozen ground, the old tunnels of Project Black Dawn came to life. Engines that hadn't moved in centuries roared again. Dust and frost fell from ceilings as blue light filled the halls. Hundreds of cryopods opened one by one. Inside them, humans, old soldiers, scientists, pilots, sleeping for 100 years waiting for this day. Their bodies were weak, but their eyes burned with fire. Each of them knew why they had been awakened. Not to surrender, not to run, but to finish the fight humanity never got to start. In the command center, Admiral Gareth Stone stood tall, his face lit by the glowing holograms of 1,000 ships. His voice was old, rough, but steady. All systems online. Dark fleet status unoperational. Wake the AI cores. Technicians worked silently as giant circular pods opened behind him. From within, light poured out. Artificial minds that had once controlled humanity's greatest war machines. The AI voices came online one by one. Helios unit active. Nyx unit active. Obsidian command ready. For a moment, the entire base pulsed like a heartbeat. Then the ship engines began to hum. The first ship rises at the edge of Antarctica. The ground exploded outward as a colossal black warship broke through the ice. Its hull was covered in strange marking. We are part human, part code. It moved like a living creature, silent and graceful despite its size. From orbit, alien scouts watched in disbelief. "Identify that vessel," ordered the Dominion admiral. "Unknown configuration," replied the scanner crew. "No galactic signature. It's not one of ours." The human ship kept rising, black against the snow, glowing faint blue beneath. At its center, the name Obsidian One appeared in burning white light. Inside, Aiden Cross stood on the bridge beside Admiral Stone. Aiden's heart pounded as he looked through the massive viewing window. He had never seen the open sky before. The admiral spoke quietly. "That, Commander, is freedom. Don't let them take it again." As the ship ascended higher, it passed through the clouds, and the stars returned. For the first time in centuries, a human warship was back in the heavens. The alien fleet detected the movement immediately. Dozens of their vessels turned toward the signal. They formed attack formations, confident that one human ship could not matter. "Crush it," said the Dominion commander coldly. "Make it an example." A wave of plasma beams fired from orbit, lighting the sky like a storm of comets. But when the light faded, the human ship was gone. Confused, the alien officers shouted over one another. "It disappeared." "No, it's still there behind us." Before they could react, a black shadow appeared right above them. Obsidian One fired, one silent pulse of blue light. 3 alien cruisers vanished in an instant. The fleet panicked. They had never seen human technology like this. They didn't even understand how the ship had moved. The voice from the dark all around the world, radios and communication satellites suddenly came alive again. A human voice broke through the static. "This is Admiral Gareth Stone of the Dark Fleet. Earth stands unbroken. To every human alive, and hold your ground." People across the planet looked up at the sky and cheered. Tears filled their eyes. For the first time in living memory, Earth was fighting back. In orbit, alien commanders realized the truth. The humans were no longer hiding. They were hunting, the return of the fleet beneath the oceans, beneath mountains, even under deserts. More bases began to open. One by one, massive black ships rose from their hidden tombs. Each ship had a name carved in human memory. Eclipse, Nightfall, Vengeance, Iron Dawn. They rose in silence, engines humming like the sound of thunder before a storm. When the clouds parted, hundreds of dark ships covered the horizon. From space, the alien sensors finally detected them all, thousands of human vessels launching at once. The Dominion Council watched in fear. How can this be? They were extinct. No, they were waiting. Aiden's first command, Aiden Cross, walked onto the command deck of Obsidian 1. Every console glowed with blue light. The crew, a mix of revived soldiers and new generation pilots, saluted him. He took a deep breath and said, "Helios, connect all ships. Begin shadow protocol." "Acknowledged," replied the AI. "Fleet synchronization in progress." Thousands of ships aligned into perfect formation. The stars above Earth dimmed under their collective shadow. Aiden whispered to himself. They thought humanity forgot how to fight. Let's remind them. The message to the stars as the Dark Fleet reached low orbit. Every human communication array reactivated. The entire galaxy received a single broadcast. To the Galactic Dominion, this is humanity. We do not surrender. We do not kneel. You came for our extinction. Now we come for yours. The alien fleets froze as the transmission ended. For the first time in thousands of years, they felt fear. The first clash, the Dominion's frontline ships moved in panic. Energy blasts filled the void between Earth and space. But the Dark Fleet moved like shadows through the fire. Obsidian 1 led the charge, diving through explosions, its dark armor absorbing energy instead of breaking. Each weapon fired once, an alien ship simply vanished. Aiden smiled grimly. They expected humans to beg, he said softly. Let's show them how we answer. The sky above Earth became a sea of light and chaos. But through the storm, the black ships moved with precision, a silent army of vengeance reborn. The ending beat, next hook. As the battle reached orbit, alien reinforcements arrived from the moon. The Dominion Admiral watched his monitors, trembling. Impossible, he whispered. They've built ghosts. On his screen, a massive human ship appeared out of nowhere. Larger than all others, its surface glowing with runes and light. Its voice echoed across all channels. This is the Obsidian Command. The Ghost Fleet has awakened. The alien fleets opened fire desperately, but nothing could stop what was coming. The humans had returned to the stars, and in this time they were the storm. Space burned with fire and light. Earth's orbit had become a battlefield. For the first time in centuries, human ships fought in the open sky. The Dark Fleet was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The calm before the storm, Commander Aiden Cross stood on the bridge of Obsidian 1. Outside the viewport, stars drifted quietly, unaware of the war about to begin. Every screen on the deck glowed blue. The hum of engines was steady, alive. Aiden watched as hundreds of other human warships formed behind him, black, sharp, and silent. They waited for his command. The galaxy had forgotten human courage, but it was about to remember their fire. Admiral Gareth Stone appeared beside him, his hands clasped behind his back. Remember this moment, the Admiral said softly. After this, nothing will ever be the same. Aiden nodded, staring into the void. Then let's make it one the galaxy never forgets. The Dominion response far above, the Dominion armada filled the sky like a sea of steel. Thousands of alien ships moved in tight formations, glittering silver lines stretching from the moon to Mars. Their commander, Varkas of the 7th Dominion, looked down at the blue planet with disgust. Primitive world, he hissed. End it now. His second officer blinked nervously. But the human ships, they destroyed our scouts. We lost 3 cruisers in seconds. Varkas slammed his clawed hand onto the console. Then we erased them faster. Begin orbital purge. Alien cannons charged, glowing red like suns about to die. The first barrage roared toward Earth. Millions of people looked up from the surface, seeing red streaks tear through the clouds. Then, silence. The shadows strike back in that instant. Obsidian 1 vanished from radar. The Dominion commander leaned forward. Where did it go? A flash of blue light appeared behind his fleet. Then another. And another. Human ships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, hundreds of dark silhouettes cutting through the light. Their weapons glowed faint blue, humming with focused gravity energy. Aiden's voice echoed through every ship in the fleet. For Earth. The first human strike began. Beams of compressed energy ripped through alien destroyers like paper. Massive explosions filled the void, turning the night sky into a storm of fire. The dark fleet moved like ghosts, vanishing and reappearing faster than the aliens could react. Inside the Dominion command ship, chaos erupted. They're everywhere. They're inside our perimeter. Varkas stared in disbelief. No one had ever fought the Dominion like this. The voice of Earth across all frequencies. Admiral Stone's voice broke through the static. This is Admiral Stone of the Human Defense Command. To all galactic observers, and this is not surrender. This is justice. Billions across the galaxy heard it. On distant worlds, enslaved species paused their work. For the first time, they heard defiance against the Dominion. The Dominion Council demanded silence. But it was too late. Hope had already begun to spread. Inside, the battle-laden gripped the controls as Obsidian One dived through enemy fire. The ship twisted like a living shadow, energy blasts grazing its hull. Helios, the AI, spoke calmly through the chaos. Enemy formation breaking. Tactical advantage achieved. Then let's end it, Aiden said. He triggered the Omega Lances and massive beams of blue-white light that cut through two capital ships at once. Debris floated like glowing dust across the darkness. Suddenly, alarms flared. Helios spoke again. Multiple hostiles inbound. Commander, recommendation evasive maneuver Delta 9. Do it, the ship twisted hard. 3 Dominion missiles followed but then vanished, drawn into a black gravity field behind the ship. Aiden smiled. Never chase a ghost. The turning point within hours, the Dominion lost half their orbital fleet. The Dark Fleet's strategy was clear. Strike fast, disappear, strike again. Their ships used human-built wormholes, technology thought impossible centuries ago. The Dominion's command network collapsed. Their ships could not even talk to each other anymore. On Earth, people watched from underground bunkers. Every explosion in the sky looked like a new sunrise. Children whispered, "We're winning." For the first time, humanity wasn't running. They were leading the fight. The enemy's fear on the bridge of his burning ship, Commander Varkas tried to retreat. His eyes widened as he saw the human flagship appear before him, silent and dark. "Identify yourself!" he screamed. Aiden's face appeared on his screen, uncalm, determined. "I'm Commander Cross. You asked for our surrender. This is our reply." Obsidian One fired. A blue beam pierced the Dominion ship clean through. Varkas's final sight was his own fleet turning into fire around him. The sky, after the battle hours later, silence returned. The war above Earth was over, for now. The atmosphere glowed faintly blue as fragments of alien ships fell like meteors. On the surface, crowds emerged from shelters. They watched the stars, seeing black human ships drift across the dawn sky. A child pointed upward. "Mom, look." "They're ours." The message to the galaxy. Admiral Stone stood before a glowing hologram showing the galaxy. Dozens of human fleets were already on the move. He spoke slowly, every word heavy as iron. "This is not victory. This is a beginning. The Dominion thought we would kneel. Now they will learn what humanity truly is." The message echoed across star systems. Somewhere on a distant alien world, a resistance leader smiled. "The humans are fighting back," he whispered. And in the heart of the Dark Fleet, Aiden Cross closed his eyes. He could still hear the engines hum like thunder beneath his feet. "They expected surrender," he said quietly. "Let's give them war." The camera pulled back through the stars, showing hundreds of black ships gliding through the void, engines glowing like embers in the dark. A storm was coming, and its name was humanity. Silence returned to space. Only the wreckage of burning alien ships drifted above Earth. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy had witnessed something impossible. The Dominion had lost a battle. Humanity had struck first. And won. But Admiral Gareth Stone knew it was only the beginning. "They will come again," he said quietly. "And this time they won't underestimate us." The gathering storm in orbit, the Dark Fleet hovered like a shadow across the stars. Thousands of ships, massive, black and silent, formed perfect patterns around Earth. Each one glowed faint blue from its engines, lighting the darkness like ghostly lanterns. Inside Obsidian 1, Commander Aiden Cross looked out the window. The stars seemed closer now, as if the universe itself was watching. Helios, the ship's AI, spoke calmly. Dominion transmissions intercepted. They are regrouping at Zorath Prime. Their capital? Aiden asked. Affirmative. Fleet size 2 billion units. Aiden took a slow breath. Then that's where we're going. Admiral Stone entered the bridge, his face pale but determined. Humanity has spent centuries hiding, he said. Now we take the war to them. The march to the stars, the dark fleet began to move. One by one, the ships opened warp gates, glowing circles of blue light that bent space itself. Entire continents could see them from Earth, beautiful, terrifying spirals of energy rising into the sky. People stood outside their shelters, watching their defenders vanish into the void. They didn't know if they would ever return, but they believed in them now. For the first time, humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for justice. The Dominion's panic on Zorath Prime. The Dominion High Council met inside the Crystal Citadel, a tower of light that rose above the planet's surface. Thousands of alien leaders shouted at once. Fear filled the air. How could humans do this? One cried. They were supposed to be extinct, another shouted. They destroyed a fleet of 500,000 ships in less than an hour. The Supreme Chancellor, a tall creature with silver skin, slammed his hand against the table. Enough, prepare the Legion Armada. If humanity wants war, they will drown in fire. Outside, massive shipyards ignited. Dozens of new warships began to rise. The Dominion's pride, fleets that had ruled galaxies for millennia, were now gathering to fight one small world. Arrival of the dark fleet days later, space near Zorath Prime shimmered. The Dominion scanners detected strange energy spikes, multiple signatures. Unknown pattern. Before anyone could react, hundreds of black ships appeared, silent, perfect, and deadly. The dark fleet had arrived. The first human ship to emerge was Obsidian 1. Its massive hull glowed with silver streaks. Aiden's voice echoed across every Dominion frequency. To the rulers of the Dominion, this is humanity. You expected us to surrender. We came instead to end your empire. The first clash, the Dominion responded instantly. Billions of ships surrounded the human fleet, filling the darkness like a sea of silver. Crush them! The Chancellor screamed. Laser storms and plasma waves filled the void. But the dark fleet moved as one, shifting, twisting, vanishing, and striking again. Human ships used gravity to bend enemy fire around them. Each strike was clean, precise, silent. For every human ship destroyed, 1,000 Dominion vessels burned. Admiral Stone watched the battle from his flagship Eclipse 9. They still think this is war, he muttered. They don't understand, this is punishment. The fall of Zorath Prime hours turned into days. The Dominion's fleet collapsed. Human ships cut through their defense grids and dropped toward the planet's surface. From orbit, the entire world looked like it was bleeding light. Human soldiers, enhanced, trained, and fearless, landed in black dropships. They fought through cities of crystal and towers of flame. Aiden led the final strike personally. He stood on the bridge of Obsidian 1, staring down at the Dominion capital below. Helios, target their command center. Target locked. Fire. A single blue beam fired from orbit. It pierced the citadel clean through. The explosion lit the entire planet. For a moment, the Dominion's homeworld looked like a second sun, and then it was gone. The broadcast Admiral Stone stood before the fleet's communication core. He looked tired, older than ever, but his voice was steady. Transmission to all systems. The Dominion has fallen. The age of fear is over. Every world under alien rule heard those words. From slave mines to colonies, billions of beings looked up at the sky in silence. Then they cheered. Across the galaxy, old empires trembled. Because the humans had done what no one dared to dream, they had destroyed the rulers of the stars. Aftermath. The dark fleet hovered over the burning remains of Zorath Prime. Wreckage drifted like black snow. Aiden stood at the viewing window, watching fire fade across the planet. Helios spoke softly. Dominion command structure neutralized. Casualties beyond measurement. And humanity? Aiden asked. Alive, stronger than ever. He smiled faintly. Then we did it. Admiral Stone joined him. No, Commander, he said quietly. We survived. But the galaxy just learned we exist again. They will come for us. Many will fear us. Some will hate us. Aiden looked at the stars. Let them come, he said. We're done kneeling. The final scene. The camera zoomed out, showing the human fleet drifting above the broken planet. Thousands of ships gleamed like shadows against the light. A single message was transmitted to every corner of the galaxy. To those who expected our submission, humanity sends its answer. We are the storm. As the broadcast echoed through the stars, distant worlds watched, some in fear, some in hope, but all of them now knew one thing. The galaxy no longer belonged to the Dominion. It belonged to humanity. The war for Zorath Prime began with silence. No one fired first. The two greatest armadas in the history of the galaxy faced each other across the stars. One silver, one black. Billions watched from distant worlds. The Dominion's capital world, once thought invincible, now stood on the edge of destruction. And at the heart of it all, humanity waited, the calm before the fire. Commander Aiden Cross stood on the bridge of Obsidian 1. His hands rested on the edge of the control table. Every screen showed the same image. The Dominion's fleet stretching across the horizon like a sea of light. Helios, the ship's AI, spoke softly. Enemy strength overwhelming. Estimated survival odds, less than 12%. Aiden smiled faintly. Then we'll just have to make the 12% count. The crew laughed quietly. It was strange, as no one felt fear anymore. Only purpose. Admiral Gareth Stone's voice came through the intercom. To all ships of the Dark Fleet, this is it. The Dominion's heart. The world that enslaved us, the rulers who mocked us. Remember every name they erased, every city they burned. Today we write our answer in their sky. Every ship's lights turned red. Combat mode. The human fleet aligned in perfect formation, and then they moved. The storm unleashed from the Dominion lines came the first blast. A wall of plasma and fire. It struck empty space. The Dark Fleet had already vanished. Seconds later, they reappeared behind the enemy. Hundreds of black ships cut through the silver lines like blades through water. "They're behind us," shouted a Dominion officer. But it was too late. Obsidian 1 fired, one clean shot. A dozen enemy cruisers exploded at once. Their fragments turned into glowing dust, falling toward the burning planet below. Human ships darted between fire and light, weaving patterns like dancers in the dark. Every move was calculated. Every strike absolute. Helios's voice echoed through the chaos. "Enemy shields collapsing in sectors 7 and 9. Push through," Aiden ordered. "Activate Omega Lances." Blue beams shot across space, slicing through capital ships that had ruled for centuries. Each explosion was followed by another, until the Dominion's fleet looked like a dying sun. Inside the Dominion capital on the surface of Zorath Prime, cities burned. The once perfect crystal towers cracked and fell. Alien civilians ran through streets that glowed with the light of war. In the Crystal Citadel, the Supreme Chancellor watched the battle through a massive window. "How can this be?" he whispered. "They were a primitive race." Behind him, alarms screamed. His guards fled. The humans were coming. Humanity's final push in orbit. Admiral Stone's ship, Eclipse 9, took heavy fire. Half the hull was gone, but he refused to retreat. "Signal all ships," he ordered. "No one stops until Zorath Prime is ash." The voice of Helios came through. "Admiral, Commander Cross requests reinforcement." Stone looked at the hologram of Obsidian 1 fighting at the center of the storm. "Give him everything we have." Every surviving human ship turned, forming a massive spiral formation around Obsidian 1. Together, they fired in perfect rhythm, like a single beating heart. The Dominion lines shattered. Their command ships exploded one after another. Aiden stood at the viewing window, watching the largest alien dreadnought turn toward him. It was enormous, a fortress the size of a moon. Helios said, "Commander, that is the Dominion flagship." Aiden's voice was quiet but certain. "Then we end this now." Face to face inside the Dominion flagship, the Supreme Chancellor opened a channel. "Human," he growled. "You think this victory makes you gods? You will drown in your own war." Aiden appeared on his screen, calm and steady. "No, we're not gods. We're the consequence of your arrogance." The Chancellor roared, slamming his claws on the console. "You cannot destroy the Dominion." "We already did," Aiden fired. The entire human fleet unleashed a storm of blue light. Every cannon, every beam, every missile. The Dominion flagship glowed, then shattered into dust. The fall of Zorath. Prime Zorath Prime's core began to collapse. The planet cracked open like glass. Rivers of light poured into space. From orbit, the dark fleet pulled back as the world below exploded. The blast wave spread for millions of miles, wiping out the last of the Dominion fleet. When the light faded, there was nothing left. No capital, no empire, no throne, only silence. The aftermath. Aiden stood on the bridge, staring at the burning debris through the window. His reflection flickered on the glass. "Is it over?" he asked. Helios replied quietly, "The Dominion is gone. But the galaxy is watching." Admiral Stone appeared on the holoscreen. He was bleeding but smiling. "You did it, son. You did what we never could." Aiden shook his head. "We all did. Every soul that refused to kneel." The Admiral looked proud. "Then it's time to show them what comes next." The message across the stars. The Dark Fleet broadcast one final message. Every world, friend or foe, received it. Every creature that had ever feared the Dominion stopped to listen. "This is humanity," Aiden said. "The war you began has ended. We do not conquer. We do not enslave. But if you come for us again, remember this sky." He paused, staring into the stars. "Remember the Dark Fleet." The transmission ended. Epilogue scene. The camera panned out, past the ships, past the smoke, past the ruins of a fallen empire. Stars glimmered softly across the void. Aiden watched them in silence. For the first time he felt peace, but also a warning deep inside. Helios spoke once more. "Commander, new signals detected. Unknown origin." Aiden smiled faintly. "Then the galaxy still has questions. Good. Let's give them answers." The engines of Obsidian 1 roared to life again. The Dark Fleet turned slowly toward the next horizon, and the legend of humanity, the species that refused to kneel, continued among the stars. The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. Zorath Prime, once the shining heart of the Dominion, was gone. Its light had vanished, leaving only dust and drifting metal across the stars. For the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy had no ruler. And the one name every surviving world now whispered was humanity. The silence after war, the wreckage of battle, floated through space like ghosts of a broken empire. Obsidian 1 moved slowly among the remains, its black hull glowing faintly in the dying light of a sun. Inside, Commander Aiden Cross stood alone at the viewing deck. The stars looked different now, colder, emptier. He could still hear the echoes of war in his mind, the screams, the explosions, the endless silence afterward. Helios, the ship's AI, broke the quiet. "Commander, reports from all sectors confirm. Dominion communications are offline. Their leadership is gone." Aiden nodded slowly. "And the others?" "Thousands of worlds are broadcasting. They want to speak with us. They want to know what comes next." Aiden looked up. "Then they'll get an answer." The survivors across the galaxy, chaos and hope, fought side by side. Planets once ruled by the Dominion were suddenly free. Slaves tore down their masters' statues. Old flags burned. New suns rose, but freedom was messy. With the Dominion gone, no one knew who would lead. On the planet Riza, once a mining world, a small girl looked up at the sky. She saw the black shapes of human ships passing overhead. Her father whispered, "Those are the ones who ended the Dominion." And somewhere deep inside her heart, a spark of belief was born. The council of the fleet aboard the flagship Eclipse 9. Admiral Gareth Stone called the first council of humanity in centuries. Representatives from every surviving human colony appeared via hologram. Some from Mars, some from Titan, some from hidden colonies long thought lost. The Admiral spoke firmly, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The Dominion is gone, but victory is not peace. We must decide what humanity will be now, conquerors or guardians." Aiden's hologram appeared beside him. His face was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of everything they had done. "We didn't fight to rule," Aiden said. "We fought to remind the galaxy that we exist. We fight only when we must. The Dark Fleet will protect the weak, not enslave them." The council was silent. Then, one by one, heads nodded. For the first time, the galaxy would not be ruled by fear. It would be protected by humans, the very species that once refused to kneel. The broadcast across every world, every system, every corner of the galaxy. Screens flickered to life. A new transmission began. The voice was human. It was strong, calm, steady. "This is Commander Aiden Cross of the Human Dark Fleet. The war is over." Images filled the broadcast, the ruins of Zorath Prime. The black ships, the survivors cheering on distant worlds. The Dominion expected us to surrender. They forgot who we are. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not break. To every world that lived in chains, rise. To every species that hid in silence, speak. The galaxy belongs to all of us now. Then came the line that would be remembered for centuries. "We are not your rulers. We are your reminder that no empire lasts forever and no slave stays silent forever." The message ended, and the galaxy changed. A world reborn. Months passed. The Dark Fleet no longer hunted. It helped rebuild. Human engineers restored power grids on alien worlds. Doctors treated the wounded of all races. Children from a dozen species learned together for the first time in history. But not everyone celebrated. In the shadows of space, old powers stirred, pirates, warlords, fallen Dominion generals still alive. They watched the humans with hatred and fear. One of them whispered, "The humans think they've won. Let's see how long their peace lasts." The return to Earth, when it was over, Aiden finally returned home. He stood on a grassy hill overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. For the first time since the war began, he felt the wind, real wind, on his face. Children played nearby, their laughter echoing through the air. He closed his eyes and breathed deeply. The scent of rain and salt filled the world again. Helios's voice came softly through his wrist communicator. "Commander, are you at peace?" Aiden smiled faintly. "For now. But peace never lasts, Helios. Not for us." "Then perhaps peace is not meant to last," the AI replied. "Perhaps it is meant to be defended." Aiden nodded. "Then that's what we'll do." The legend begins. Years later, across the stars, children told stories of the Dark Fleet. Some said the ships were made of shadows. Others said they carried the souls of fallen warriors. But everyone agreed on one thing. When the galaxy was dying, humanity came back from the dark, and they never surrendered. Final scene. In deep space, beyond the reach of any sun, a single ship drifted silently. Its black surface reflected distant starlight. The name on its hull read Obsidian 1. Inside, Aiden stood on the bridge, older now but still unbroken. Helios's voice echoed softly. "Commander, new signal detected." Unknown origin. Aiden's eyes narrowed. Another threat? Unclear. But it's coming. From beyond the known sectors. He turned toward the stars, his voice quiet but firm. "Then we'll go meet it." The engines of Obsidian 1 came alive once more. Blue light spread across its hull like veins of fire. One by one, the other ships of the Dark Fleet followed, forming a silent armada. They moved together into the unknown, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The narrator's voice fades in. They expected our surrender, but humanity gave them something else instead. A future. The camera pulled back, showing the vast galaxy, peaceful for now, glowing with hope, and far in the distance, the black silhouette of the Dark Fleet disappeared into the light of a new dawn.